One time, I found my cat napping in the bed like a little human. He was on his back, face up. His head was on the pillow, and he had the comforter pulled up to his chin with his little stick arms outside the blanket. And the only thing that would have made me laugh louder was that if he'd been wearing my sleep mask. He is a true Magaloni Ramos. My father worked the night shift and would attempt to sleep during the day, while my very rambunctious brothers and I attempted to keep the noise level inside the house to a faint racket. He became so desperate for sleep that he finally put a cot in his closet. We would laugh and say that while some families had skeletons in their closet, we had our father in ours. Rest was always seen as a priority in our home. No one was ever made to feel bad about taking time to rest. No one was ever asked what we were supposed to be doing. Rest wasn't seen as a misuse of time in my home. Rest was seen as deepening. Poems were written at rest. Guitars were strummed. Books were read. Things were pondered when someone was at rest. I don't remember certain activities being prioritized over others either. Anything that was important to any one of us was deemed worthy of enjoyment. My father loved to recite poetry, so we loved it too. My brothers and I spent a lot of time lying on the living room carpet, eyes closed, listening to records of poets reading their own works. My favorite was Langston Hughes. I have known rivers. I've known rivers ancient as the world and older than the flow of human blood in human veins. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. My mother loved the beach. I don't know what it was about the sand or the air in the Gulf of Mexico, but within seconds of arriving, our super high-energy mom would be sawing Z's under her straw hat. My oldest brother loved reading, so books were everywhere, and no one ever asked what we were supposed to be reading. Playing outside was just as important. The message I got growing up was that life simply had different speeds. My brother Beto was the most creative of us all. One time, we came home from a grocery run and heard a bell ringing. We found a bell connected to a string that had been slipped through a curved nail above the door frame. We followed the string along the wall and up the stairs to find my brother in his bed moving the string, which was tied to his big toe. 40 years later, it still makes me laugh. I'd say that was time well wasted. Beto was so much fun. We couldn't wait to do nothing with him. Once he convinced us to spend a huge portion of our summer tying thick spools of string together for our kites in hopes that we could surprise passenger airplanes with them. I remember climbing over our elementary school's chain link fence to spend hours in the field flying them. We chewed sweet grass and sour clover as we lay on our backs, languidly scanning the sky for airplanes. As our tiny kite specks tugged on strings so long it faded into the sky. We would talk some, but mostly, we would just be. In between a long silence, I remember Beto saying, "If you close your eyes, you can feel the world spinning." I closed my eyes. He was right. I don't remember getting a message about what kind of life was worthy of living. It never occurred to me that pursuing acting could be considered frivolous or unrealistic until I moved to Silicon Valley and was openly sneered at by other parents. I wonder about the over-curated and over-scheduled children I saw when I was raising my son Max. I can't help but wonder what they missed, what joy, what true gifts were extinguished in service of the popular idea of a successful life. I don't know if my parents were brave. Some might say they were clueless. I'm just glad my family celebrated life, which included rest and unstructured play. It is an inheritance that I have tried to pass on to my son. I made it a point to find a school for him that didn't give any grades or homework. His childhood moved at its own pace. He's a junior at UUSF now. He comes over sometimes just to relax with me. We sit under fuzzy blankets and watch our favorite Scooby-Doo episodes while our cat Kato snores between us.